Hello, everyone. Look who's here. I have Viv and Natasha, also known as Mr. and Mrs. Canfield. That's just one of your roles that you have. We're so excited that you're here. How are you doing?
Great. We're doing great.
Yeah, very well, very well.
We're just seeing everyone who's joining us. Hi, everyone.
Wow, look at that.
This is great.
They're already piling in. They're very excited. Whenever I posted it on Twitter, Instagram, on our Facebook pages, everyone was like, "Oh, I can't make it, but I have a question." So I wrote some of those down, and then it records, so they'll get to see. It's like evergreen. So they're very excited. So let's get started, because before you know it, it goes like in a blip. So talk about, because we're here about your career and about the two of you, not just When Calls the Heart. So Natasha, if you don't mind, can you tell us a little bit like about your start? Because when I was researching, I'm like, first you're in the UK, born in the UK, then you're in Australia, then you're in Canada, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're already a world traveler and you're like a young woman. What was that like?
So in the UK, I started out doing a Diana Ross show for 6 years. It was a Motown show. We were touring the UK and Europe, and that was brilliant. That was a great experience. And by the end of that being 6 years, I wasn't sure whether I really wanted to stay in the industry, or I was maybe just a little bit bored of doing the same thing for so long.
Yeah.
And my partner at the time, he was Australian, and so I decided to go to Australia with him for a year and see how that went. Unfortunately, it didn't go as well as I would have liked it to go, but I did get some good experience, and that's where I started in film and television. Because I went to a NIDA, which is the National Institute of Dramatic Arts in Sydney, and did a couple of short courses there. And that was just to get me into film and television. So I did a few short films from that, and spoke to a talent scout who dealt with Australians and New Zealanders who wanted to go to LA or Canada. And he suggested I target Canada and Vancouver specifically, because there would potentially be a lot of work for me. Sure. So I first went to Toronto because I knew people there, made arrangements to speak to some agents, and the same in Vancouver. But then I ended up siding with Vancouver because I feel like the infrastructure is much smaller if you're by yourself, and you can get around a lot easier. And it was easier for me to get to know people.
Oh, like the city, the layout of the city itself.
Yes, it's much smaller than Toronto.
Yes. Okay, so I'm thinking to myself, like that would be important for me too. Like I'm not a city driver, so I would be nervous. So I guess that would be something. I didn't even think of that. Like, were you on your own totally, like by yourself at this time?
Fully by myself.
Yeah.
It was important to me. When I was in Toronto, the friend I was staying with was actually quite far from Toronto itself, where I would need to go for all the auditions, and it was a good hour and a half. And when I came to Vancouver, everywhere was pretty much in walking distance, 5-10 minutes away. So it seemed to make sense.
That's good. Okay. And safe. I mean, you will be safe. Yeah. Now you were singing Diana Ross. Oh my goodness. And then I know. I'm gonna talk about that. And then you were acting. And is that how it went? Singing, acting, or was it a combo, or like?
Yes, it was always singing first.
Okay.
Right. I did always enjoy acting, but singing was the thing I was always known for in school and as I was growing up. And then it kind of automatically became singing as my first thing to do. And I originally had a producer who wanted to turn me into a real music artist, and I didn't actually enjoy it, which is strange. So I left that and went into the theatre.
And you know what? You have to do what you love. I mean, I think that's important. So I'm a teacher and I love it. Like there's nothing I would want to do first. I'm a writer too. I'm a published author, which I don't actually run around and tell everybody that because I use a pen name because I'm a teacher.
Wow.
my first love truly is teaching. Like, if you don't love it, it shows. It come like, yeah, so that was good. That was smart of you because you probably would have been very successful, but not happy, because you have a beautiful voice. I've heard it.
Oh,
Yes, yes. Now, Viv, you were like what, 2 when you got started? No, I'm only kidding. You were young. What was going on?
Yeah, I was. I didn't do anything when I was that young.
I'm kidding.
Um, yeah, my older brother Richard is an actor,
Yes.
and he is pretty much responsible for me being an actor. In that my first love is stand-up comedy. That's what I wanted to be.
Oh,
Eddie Murphy is like my idol,
okay.
and so that's what I wanted to do. And so I pursued stand-up more than I really went after acting. But acting just kept coming back,
Right.
kept coming back around. It's kind of this thing where, when it's meant to be, that door just keeps opening. And
Yes.
the greatest thing is the kind of the two worlds collided in that. I did a movie with Eddie Murphy called I Spy, and it was the greatest 4 months of
Ah!
greatest 4 months of my life ever. And because he told me I was funny, so I was like, well, I can retire now. I can.
Then you are. Your dream came true. That must have been like surreal, right?
Yes, yes. It
Yes.
was. Yeah, it's still the craziest thing. Like the first time he met me, because he had to watch my audition tape and approve me for the part. And
Wow.
yeah, when I met him and he shook his hand, and he's like, "You're real funny, man," and I was like, "Thank you."
Now, did you know that the audition tape that you gave him, did you know that he would have to see it and approve? Or
Yeah, the director told me.
oh
And
wow.
when I got the part, she told me that she's like, "This is not only me deciding." She's like, "This is Eddie Murphy deciding
Oh,
that you should be on this movie." And it was like the perfect storm of a situation in that he said he wanted to see a new face.
okay.
So so it was a situation where there was so many at the time. This is 2001, so there was a whole bunch of guys that are really popular and famous now that they weren't at the time.
Mhm.
But they were all the people that I was going up against, and he, yeah, he put that mandate out there saying, "I want to see a new face," and so the director was open to finding someone new. And yeah, when I came in for the audition, she loved what I was wearing. I was I was wearing these green leather baggy pants, and she just thought they were the coolest things. And I knew what the character, I knew what he was supposed to be. And,
Okay.
and she just took a chance on me. And
That's good. I mean, well, of course that's good. Look who we are. Now, but I'm just still going back to this is like someone that you were a big fan of, and now here you're co-starring. Was there anything that you learned from him that I'm sure there was, but that like really resonates with you still to this day?
yeah, he told me when you're in a lead position on a movie, you have to conserve your energy.
Oh.
Because I was so excited to be there. So it was like action, and I'm saying my lines, cut, talking to everybody, and
Yeah.
talking to Eddie, talking to everybody.
Yeah.
He was like, "You're gonna burn out. You can't do that." I'm like, I'm 26 years old. I can talk forever. And right, he was right. You have to conserve your energy. And yeah, that was the biggest lesson that I learned in that one, because I was exhausted because of chat, 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 chat.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
on that set was talk. So yeah, I learned from Eddie Murphy, conserve your energy.
I love that. That's like, I mean, I'm just loving that you were able to have like a dream come true. That's exciting. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, not too many people have the
No.
work with your hero kind of.
Yes. And it's already happened. And
It's already
so
happened. Kind of a weird thing, because my whole career was. I was like, oh well, I guess I'm done.
no, that's when you make new dreams and
Yeah.
new things. Yes. So now your children, you have your 3 children and they're all acting. Was that like, did they say, Daddy, I want to be an actor, or saw what you were doing? Or was it something you coaxed them in? How'd it come about? If you don't
Um,
mind sharing.
Interestingly enough, the only one said, "Daddy, I want to be an actor." And that was Vienna.
Oh.
So Vienna had been doing cartoons since she was in the 4th grade. So since she's about 9 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and not too long after, maybe a couple years after, she was asking to be going out for film and television, and I coach a lot of actors and I'm around a lot of actors, so I was like, let's wait a little.
Yeah.
Like, let's wait till we go down that road, because it's filled with lots of disappointment,
Sure.
and it's also this thing where I was like, let's wait till she kind of gets a handle on being a teenager.
Mm.
um but she kept pushing, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. When can I audition? When can I audition? I was like, okay, okay. I was like, we'll see, we'll see. So then I got the part of Joseph, and I noticed that Joseph has 2 kids, and one, and I kind of was like, well, my boys do not want to audition, but I know my daughter does. So I
Mm-hmm.
suggested to my agent about Vienna, who then suggested to the casting director, Candice Elzinga, that maybe Vienna can audition. So Vienna was actually visiting some friends. She was away at the time for the weekend. So I get the material and I send it to her, and she said, "No, I don't want to do it." I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
I was like, what? After all that, after all
Yeah.
years, you asking me, here you go. She's like, the character is blind, and
Aw.
and she's like, it's an established show. It's like a huge show. The character is blind, and she's like, I'll be working with you. And I was like, that would be kind of daunting. You go to work, and the first time you go to work is with your parent.
Yes. Yes.
I never thought about it. So I actually said, okay, you don't have to do it. And our good friend Peter DeLuise, who writes and directs plenty of the episodes, Peter and I go way back, and he heard that Vienna knew about it but wasn't going to audition. And he was like, what? He's like, no. She has to audition. She has to audition. So he actually made a little video of himself saying, Vienna, I will not let you fail. And he said,
Oh,
and he said, play that for her. I played it for her, and then she knew that
it'll be okay.
she knew that she had some people kind of looking out for her, but she still had to win them over. She still had to do the audition,
Sure.
and she had to she had to really come across. She had to play blind, and she had to do it convincingly. There's been people on set and online that have asked if she really is
blind. Yeah,
blind.
visually impaired. Does she really play the piano?
She can play by ear a little bit, but not like Angela can play.
No.
Yeah.
Did she have to? I remember when I was talking to Christian, who plays Timmy. He had to play the piano in probably seasons before you, and he said he actually had to take lessons during the season to play.
Wow.
Now, does she have to do that, or is it all just manufactured?
No, she's good enough to kind of fake it, and then they actually have a hand double.
Yes, I saw that.
Yes. So she has a hand double that comes in and does all the difficult parts, but she's good. She's good enough. She can play by ear to a certain.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Do you have any musical talent?
I can sing a little, not like
a little.
That's actually how I got my start in this industry. I was singing at a high school talent show.
Wow.
One of the judges was he turned out to be my first agent, because he was an agent in town, and he approached me after the show and said, you have a lot of stage presence, you got a lot of charisma, you should consider acting. So this is how acting came into my life. It just kept coming into my life. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool story. So you were young. Like I was in talent shows, but there were no agents telling me that I could keep going. Like
Well,
I tap dance and stuff like that, but it's fun. But you're right because there were sometimes talent agents or like someone from like an acting school or whatever always wound up being one of the judges. So
yep.
that's kind of like the soda shop story where you're sitting at the soda shop and you get discovered. That's cool. I like that
Yeah,
story.
it's kind of a cool story. It's when it came to Elias now getting on the show,
Uh-huh.
as soon as they saw Vienna and they were
Yes.
like blown, like, wow, she's amazing. They're like, do you have any sons? I'm like, yeah, I got 2 sons, but I'm like, I don't. They both have not ever expressed any interest in acting. Elias did say that when he was older, he'd be an actor.
Mhm.
Yeah, sure, I'll do it when I get older. But yeah, he auditioned. They both auditioned, Lennox and Elias, but Elias is actually the age that Cooper is. So
Oh, that's perfect.
it all
And
worked out.
he's listen to me. He's like my new favorite kiddo. I love Ava's Opal. I do love her, but I love him. He's got like a spunk and a cuteness, like, and he's very, very natural, like authentic, which
Yes.
is great because kiddos are I teach fifth graders. They're still, learning and whatnot, but he's got it in his genes. He's a natural.
Yeah, he everybody that meets Elias is just like, oh my god, oh, he's so adorable. And he's got a heart-shaped birthmark like right here on his face. It's crazy.
That's
But
perfect. He's meant to be a Hardy.
this kid, he's a natural born Hardy.
So you know what? He has charisma, like they probably saw in you. He definitely has it.
He's
So yeah.
more than me, I tell you that.
Aw. Now, Natasha, talk to me about this amazing play because I researched it even before, like back before it started because I don't know, I saw something on Instagram and it caught my attention. Then I didn't even realize it was you that was in it. Where I'm like, wait a minute, I know that name. And then I had to go back because you look different. I'm used to seeing you as Minnie. So that must have been an amazing experience.
Yes, it was.
Oh, first let me say,
Oh, sure.
brilliant in the play. She is the best thing about it, hands down,
Mm,
by far.
I love it. I wasn't able to see or find any clips anywhere. No one like stole some, sometimes you take some video and it winds up in places, but I'm sure eventually maybe it will be. You never know. They're going to give time so they don't get in trouble. So go ahead. Tell us about the play.
So the play is written by an amazing British playwright, my
Yes.
partner. It was written at such the perfect timing of after Brexit happened in the UK,
Mhm.
and the play itself, its theme, I think the underlying theme does refer to kindness quite a lot and listening to each other. But then it's really intertwined with generational conflict
Yeah.
and the conflict caused by Brexit as well. And it was obviously very personal to me, and I was the only British actor in the play.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it did mean a lot to me to be able to share those views and have those discussions. And of course, Canadians wouldn't know everything about Brexit. There's no reason for them to.
No.
So I felt like it was a great opportunity for them to understand more and just be better informed about, in some way, what we went through. But then because it's a Christmas play as well, there are so many levels to the play and so many things you're listening to and listening for, but then that resonate with you for different reasons. And you're not supposed to be on anyone's side. You're supposed to hear both sides. And that's almost the point.
Right. That makes sense. Now, you went all the way up to the 23rd, right, of December?
That's right.
Correct? So, how many was it 7 days? How many days was it? Was it open?
We did 14 shows in total. So it was 6 days of a
But
week. Yeah.
but sometimes I know you had 2 shows within a day.
Yeah.
So, like emotional wise, like, are you drained? I was Morgan Wiley. I had her on. I don't know if you know who Morgan is. And she's been in movies. People get mad when I say a name, the viewers, and like, you didn't say where she was from. So she played the really cute part in It Was Always You with she was the I'm telling this to the viewers, not to you. She was the dental hygienist that fell in love with the man that Aaron Krakow was supposed to marry, and she marries the other brother or falls in love with the other brother. Anyway, she's long, gorgeous red hair. So she's very much into theater. And she actually teared up because she missed it. And she was talking about it. And she said that you feed off of your audience, right? And she said that there was such range of emotions that you would get exhausted. Now, I was telling her about Snowflake. Her agent asked me to send info about it because she wasn't aware of it. And I was thinking in my head, if that were true, how in the world did you do like multiple, like times in like a short amount of, like, you must have been exhausted on Christmas Day.
No, I really was. Your adrenaline kind of gets you through for most things. And again, because you're doing the same dialogue every night, you find different levels, different times. There were times where I was hysterically upset, and then other times where I was just so livid I couldn't even get upset. And everything, every day when you're receiving the energy from the other actor, you give what you get. And also you're just there trying to discover your character, because every day you do it, you discover something slightly different in maybe the way you say something and the way you deliver something, and your emphasis might switch from one word to another because today it just makes more sense to say.
Right.
And that's really fun to actually just continually work with the same dialogue, because of course there were days where, you know, I forgot a line or I said the wrong thing and things like that. And so you're just kind of working through all of that.
So, I mean, that's exactly like what Morgan was saying. And I'm thinking, so there's a big difference, of course. So that was recurring, but it was the same role, the same setting, the same storyline, where you have a recurring role, both of you, where you play the same character, but you have different situations each time. Is there one that's more taxing than the other? This is for both of you, or it's just totally different and you enjoy it all?
I feel like I would say it's totally different, because you do feed off the energy from the audience a lot. When it's live, you get that from them. And I mean, there are times they don't give you anything, so you have to constantly be
right.
But you know, but then what ends up happening is the other person on stage knows that they're not giving us anything, so the two of you feed off each other's energy. For that reason. Whereas I suppose doing a recurring TV role, it's constantly changing, so you can, and you know, every time you film a scene, it's what, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes before they say cut, because the scenes are obviously fairly short. And in that, you just end up being able to switch the adrenaline on just for long enough that you need to give something and then take a rest, because it's just stop, start, stop, start.
It's a true art. Like it's something that we as the viewers really appreciate, because it's entertaining for us. We learn, we feel emotions from it, and we really appreciate it. It's like a time to escape. And then when you're good at it, like the two of you are, it's even like more enjoyable. So thank you. Thank you. People are like, oh, when you're at school, I'm a teacher. Oh, my son wants to be an actor. I want to erase that. Like, how about we can steer him somewhere else? I'm like, I'm not going to say that to your child. You know what I mean? You can say that, but I'm not. Like, I'm going to encourage that, whatever passion you have inside of you, because it's important. Everybody's job is important, and we all draw from it. So, I mean, I learned so much from watching TV shows and like When Calls the Heart or plays. And thank you. Really, thank you.
What's an interesting point to that, to say to a parent that might say, my kid is interested in acting, and get rid of that. And I get it. There's barely parents out there that are supportive of their kid wanting to pursue the arts. Only in that, when you think about the job of being a parent, it really is this thing where you're constantly being able to tell people where your kids are. So people will ask you when the kid is born, oh, how old is the kid? Kid's
Yeah.
3 months, kid's 6 months, the kid is 9 months. Because with that comes a certain expectation about what they can do.
Yes.
And
You're
so
right.
and so, you know, this is the thing that I've seen. I've encountered it in my own life in that my older brother thankfully told my parents that he wanted to be an actor, long before I ever started acting. So he's 6 years older than me. So like he
Mhm.
was out there doing it and succeeding at it. And so it made it a lot easier when I then came along and said, this is what I'm gonna do. And my father and I got into a disagreement. Ironically, this is a conversation we had 2 weeks before I got the part on I Spy with Eddie Murphy.
Oh.
So my father says to me, "You need to get something to fall back on." And Eddie Murphy is actually famous for saying this quote, which is, "I'm not gonna get something to fall back on because I'm gonna fall back on it. I'm gonna I'm gonna pursue this thing that I'm going after, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go after it, and that's it. Because if I have a safety net, then I'm gonna need it. And
Yes.
which when you don't have a safety net, that's when you got to be perfect."
Yeah.
And so here, my father and I now have this conversation, and he's like, it's not like he's not supportive of me being an actor. He's just saying
He's
you need to
worried.
have something else because if it doesn't work, and
Right.
I said no, and my brother was always a lot better at kind of probably appeasing our parents.
Mm-hmm.
He had a job on the side, whereas I didn't. I just went for it, so that's what worried my father. So, anyways, he says you need to have a job on the side, and I said no, and and he, I ended up saying to him, "Look, let me ask you something." I was like, "When you were my age, you already had kids."
Oh.
He's already, this the generation before. They already were.
Sure.
So I have half sisters. So he had already had a family
Mm-hmm.
before, he met my mother and had me. And anyways, so I said, you had a totally different mindset at this same age. So you're looking at me and you're remembering back to where you were. And I said, but that had a lot to do with the responsibilities you had. I said, I don't have what you have. I was 26 years old at the time. I was like, what did you want to do before you had that responsibility? I said, if I could magically take you back and erase that responsibility, what would you have done? And he was quiet for about 30 seconds. And then he says, I would have become a professional gambler.
Oh.
And I said, well, what do you think I do? Because that's all I do with what
Yes.
acting is get with rolling the dice and throwing it down. And 2 weeks later, and I said, look, you might not respect my decision on this, but you have to respect the fact that your son sticks to his guns. And 2 weeks later, I had the movie I Spy. So
Oh, very good. And you know what? That's really true. What you just said, that's what's important, that you didn't give up because there were going to be so many no's and one, like you won,
yes,
yes.
so
So,
yes.
yeah, good. That's just like with writing. Please, you send your manuscript out so many times and you get like thousands of rejections and then finally something.
You have to stay with it. And so that for that parent who is wanting to kind of eliminate that thing in their kid,
Yeah.
no. Like what we do is something that a lot of people, it's their biggest fear. Like public speech is people's biggest fear. Like
Yes.
we'll
Yes,
do
it
it
is.
because we do it. And to know that who there's people 10 times, 100 times more talented than me out there who have never hit the stage and who've never been in front of the camera because their stage fright won't allow it. And
Mm.
it's a real thing. It's a real thing. And we're kind of a different breed of people that we could step in front of this woman. You should see her in this play. She can step on that stage and just be amazing. And and then we
Yeah.
get in front of the camera and we act like we're a couple and act like we're parents And
very convincingly. We're going to talk. Well, let's segue into that. But wait, before we segue into that, I know we've got a lot of your Haley Dean fans over here with lots of questions. So, and we'll look at those comments. But that's a recurring role, but it's not like, you're showing up like, how you do all that filming at one time for a whole season. This is like, so many times a year kind of thing. What's like the pros and cons of that? Like,
of a recurring part versus,
well, no, they're both recurring, but it's like one is like only like you have to jam pack it in a couple of weeks and get it done, right? And the other one is like one calls the Heart is months of filming. Is there something that like is more challenging, or they just have their own challenges and pluses?
yeah, they have their own challenges and pluses. Um, you know, the thing that I will always start with when it comes to a character, any character, is always kind of like, who are they in relation to the people that they're connecting with, that they're
Okay.
to, and that's, you always kind of have the same job, no matter what project you're doing. There's a process that that actors that we will take when we break down the information and when we connect with the other characters, and
Sure.
yeah, you just kind of, you do the work, and you take it from there, and hopefully it's a nice collaborative situation. That's the, what, when you get a set like When Calls to come into an established show that had already been up and running for
Yes.
it's been, and it's it's already a huge hit, and
Yes.
there's lots of established people on the show. When they welcome you, and and then now this is why in turn we turn around, and when Amanda comes, we're like, how you doing? We welcome her because we
Sure.
know what that felt like to get welcomed like that.
Yes.
As well.
So what was nice though was the two of you came in together. Well, there's four of you actually. So you come in together. Now, when you were auditioning, did you two have you're come in and you now have to be a couple that's been together for like 13, 14 years. I forget how old your daughter is supposed to be on the show.
Yeah.
Did you have to do like a chemistry test or meet each other, or no?
No, we didn't meet each other at
No.
all. We just talked on the phone.
Yeah, we talked on the phone, and then we met up. We met before we actually went to set, but
Okay.
yeah, it was just, we just connected on the phone and started cracking jokes, and it was like, okay, this lady's super cool. Yeah, like right away, we just see her sense of humor.
Same sense of humor.
Oh, well, that's perfect. So there, I like to take, because I do this, but then on my channel, like I'll look at little sneak peeks, or I'll analyze a past scene or something. So I took the sneak peek of you sitting in having breakfast, and Minnie's cooking, and Bill is reading the letter of where Clara and Jesse are. And prior to that, you say that like you're teasing, and you're like, do you have it? Is the sneak peek in your pocket? And like you're leaning into each other. You're like so convincing and so in each other's space. It's like you really are a married couple that have known each other forever. So we love that. I love it.
I feel like I've known her forever. It's
good,
right? Like I say all the time, I'm like, thank God it was you. I say it all the time because the whole thing about it is, I mean, Natasha has a way more daunting challenge here. She's coming in, and it's me and my two children,
yes,
and my wife as well. Don't forget her. She's coming for the ride. And so Natasha has to like connect with everybody, and my other son, she has to connect with everybody. Whereas in turn, we're connecting with one person, and she came in, and like we've adopted her. Like Natasha's here all the time. She's at my house all the time.
Good.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to be afraid in the city anymore. No, I'm only kidding. You were never afraid.
I just run to their house. Like,
you got to come.
Now, I have a couple of questions that I was curious about, and you just tell me if you can or cannot answer them. But I kind of gave you a heads up. I was always curious: are the Canfields from Canada or the United States, or we're going to find that out?
They're from the U.S.
Okay, that's That's kind of like what I thought. And I was also thinking, you really have to like change your accent, Natasha. How is that? How do you do that?
She's good at it. She can do any accent.
It's I don't know why I don't find it too difficult for some reason. It was, when I did the audition, I decided that that's how she sounded. I
Okay.
actually had no reason for her to sound that way. They didn't tell me to sound like that. I knew I had
Oh,
an American accent, but I wasn't told what type. And I didn't, just for me, I was like, well, this is how Minnie sounds.
And that's how
to
Minnie
me.
sounds.
So,
all right. I love it. And I didn't even realize you sang until I was watching or listening rather to not an audition, a podcast with Brian Bird and John Tinker. And he mentioned how beautiful your voice was. They were talking about your gorgeous accent. And I'm like, she has an accent? Wait a minute. I got to go look this up. And then they were talking about you had a beautiful singing voice too. They were talking about Aaron's voice. We say, all of us Hearties, we always say the talent that is on When Calls the Heart. We want a musical or episode that's like a musical where everybody's singing, or a talent show that Rosemary puts on and you're all, up there singing and doing whatever. We love that.
I had Viv singing when he came to town and he was humming when his car broke down.
Yes.
You should have just sang.
I was singing a little.
You sound like
Yes.
you should have sang.
Yes, we love that. Now, okay, so we had talked about this in the studio, and we can alert everyone. We are curious about you moving. Are you moving again? Are you moving out of the row house? Because we did see you in the row house in one of the sneak peeks, but then we see you in the cafe. You didn't move, did you?
No.
We've moved to the town now, and that's where we're setting up roots.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Now, in season 8, you start out in the cabin in the woods, and then you move to town. Was that because of set reasons, or was it like actually really part of the storyline? What was that? Do you know?
Yeah. It was storyline, and it was also like logistically.
Yeah.
Because of the time of year.
Yes.
It was difficult to film in the cabin because temperatures dropped.
Yes.
Harder to move equipment.
Yeah.
Very muddy. It's a very muddy area, especially when it's wet and in winter months.
Yeah. So in the summer it was good, but because of the tree cover,
yes,
it meant that the ground stayed wet, stayed damp, stayed soft, and it was just too hard to keep moving stuff back and forth.
Okay. And in my mind, I said it was like a metaphor. So you were new to town. You weren't sure if you could trust them. So you're on the outskirts. The more you could trust them, now you're accepted. So now you're right in the middle of the town, working in the middle of the town. That was my spin.
It's, you know what? It made a lot of logical sense. You come into town, you don't know anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. It's nice and accepting. This as accepting as this town is, we don't know what we're dealing with yet.
Right. That's true. You did.
They'd be out in the cabin.
Now, one of the things that I love about your characters are you both are very like wise when you're talking to others, and then you're that way for each other too. So like Joseph has his little tiny hissy fit because he wanted the gas station, but then Minnie like reins him in, and then Minnie's all upset because she's like, I told, like, in your mind, in a very, very reserved way, because you're very reserved. You're very heartbroken and nervous and worried about your daughter, and you're like, look, eating your cake. I made a recipe about that cake too. I put that up. I make up my own things. So anyway, you're eating your cake and you're telling her, we'll just keep moving then. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, we can just keep on moving on down the road.
Do you ever improvise at all when you're speaking to like Lee? Like Joseph has some wonderful lines, and especially when you're talking to Lee and finding himself. Like you even quoted Ephesians from the Bible. I recognized it. And you have my favorite line was when you said to him, there's 2 important days in your life, right? The one when you're married, and then the one where you're born, and then the second when you know why. And I was like, oh my gosh. Yes. So are these lines that are written for you? Do you have any input?
You know what? Natasha knows this about me. I famously ad lib all the time, but not a lot with Joseph. I don't really have to. I'll change some stuff.
Okay.
I'll change some words to kind of make something flow a little bit better
Mm-hmm.
sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But then everybody involved is really good. If Natasha and I have any concerns about anything
Yeah.
that we want to change, or if something doesn't make sense to us logically,
Yeah.
we will like immediately listen. This doesn't quite ring true. And John Tinker's really good about changing anything that we
I'm listening.
have issue with. But yeah, Kevin, you gotta be on your toes with Kevin. Kevin is gonna do something, say something. He's gonna come up with something, and you gotta be ready because he's like guaranteed he's gonna come up with something.
He's known,
yeah, fun together, Kevin and I, because
we have a lot of scenes together.
Yeah.
So I see Joseph very much dapper and dressed up when he's having breakfast at the cafe, and it's a work day. And then I see Joseph under the car working on Lucas's car. So I'm thinking like Joseph has many talents and he's going to be using them in season 9 besides preaching.
Many talents. Yes. He's all over the place.
Okay. Now, well, Natasha, this is just a yes, no answer. Will we learn more about your background? Because I feel like there might be, this is just me, a little mystery behind it, or more that we would like to know about. Do we learn more in this season? Yes or no?
Time. I will just say this. There certainly is a time where we get to understand a bit more. But for sure, I would say that we are definitely focused on how we fit into Hope Valley now.
Okay.
And what's for us moving forward.
Okay. Yes, because you would be like, I mean, there have been actors and background actors, but you're the first Hope Valley family of color. Like you're the first, which is, I love it because we need to spice it up and I loved how you already covered some of the issues that happened before you got there, like what happened with your daughter. Like that scene with Carson makes me cry every time I watch it. And oh my gosh, you know, that soft voice. And when you're speaking to him and you said you got that bitterness out of my soul, and I'm like, every time I watch it, it's so moving.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about the fact that, you know, this show's been on for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, for me, it's like a callback to Little House on the Prairie.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And what's an incredibly like humbling and we're honored to be this is that we're the family. We're the only kind of family.
Yes, you are. Absolutely. Yes.
It's such a cool because there's lots of different kind of versions of a family, like with you know, Elizabeth,
single mom,
single mama, you know, and then we have Nathan is kind of like a single dad, you know. We have little bits and pieces of it. Obviously, the kids, you know, have parents, you know, but yeah, we're the only ones that get to show what the family is going through.
That's true. And we saw a little clip, like there's a distance now with your son, and you say, I have an idea, and you'll like take him to work with you kind of thing. So we're like so excited about season 9. You know this. And we love it because you came on and said it's like explosive, but then Kevin already said it. So now we're all tuned into what's explosive, you know, and I'm sure there's like people in the chat that want to know, but we're not allowed to know. We have to wait. That's what builds the anticipation, right? Yes. So, I'm sorry. Yes.
It really is.
Yeah. Something that I was curious about, and I ask any of my When Calls the Heart people this. When you first come on and you're new and you're there, who was it that you bonded with besides each other? Because, and thank God that you did, because you make for a very believable couple. But who else? Who took you under your wing, made you feel comfortable besides Peter? But he already knew you, and that's why you're there.
First person to really reach out and make totally reach out to me was Ben. Ben Rosenbaum.
I love his part. He's such a great actor.
Oh yeah,
He's been there. I'm sorry. He's been there from day one, from the very beginning. Like you get to see him grow up.
Yeah, Ben is so talented.
He is.
And you don't get to see what this man can do. And he's hilarious. Like he kills me, has me laughing all the time.
We're seeing a little bit more, but I follow him on Instagram. I mean, he's a cool guy. So I'm very like excited for this new season. There's a funny clip that we get to see where he's holding up his poster and he's all serious and mad because they defaced it or did something to it. And your heart breaks for him, but you're also cracking up dying, because of the way he, portrays it. Yeah. He's a cutie. So do you have any memorable, before we start asking some questions, do we have any? I think they're mentioning, I'm sorry, I think Peter DeLuise might be here. He might be, they're making comments, I think, in there, but we'll ignore those for now. Is there something that was your favorite that stood out? Like I told you, I had some favorite scenes. Was there something that you had a really great time filming, even if it had to do with behind the scenes? I'll give you an example. We had Wesley Salter on, and oh my gosh, he was like, I loved having him on. He's just an amazing human, his life and the things he's accomplished. And we talked about Mandrake and all his other characters, but he told us a really funny story where he was supposed to get in the car and just drive off, and he's being directed to drive, and he couldn't because the shoe was stuck and he couldn't make the car work, little funny things like that. But it's just anything that's memorable to you. Or am I putting you on the spot?
What do you got?
What do I have? Oh, let's see.
There's so many cute things that were in that season with your family.
Oh yeah. But do you know what? I really loved doing the scene in the church. That's my favorite scene. When I say to him, he's talking about being the pastor, and I say, "In whose eyes, Joseph?"
Yes.
And that's always been my favorite scene.
Yeah, she loved that.
I love that scene. It was such a beautiful scene.
It's a message to the viewers. That's why, I mean, the two of you, I feel like, had the best lines, except for the one that Pascal gets to say, someone comes in your life for a season, a reason, and a lifetime. That's amazing. But you two, the things that you said to each other, for each other, and then, of course, what you said to the characters around you, I was like, yes, this family. So you're like the family unit that unites everybody, which I'm so happy you're there.
You know what? We're happy we're here too, and it's an important point for us that Joseph and Minnie are a united front.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that even if they're disagreeing, there's a solid base that they have.
Yes.
Just beyond anything, it will never ever be something where you think, oh, Joseph and Minnie are going to be at odds with each other. And no, that's the way we like to present. We like to present that even if there's a disagreement, even if there's something, there's still you can crack a joke. She can crack a joke. They can still
make it work.
Yeah, they can still make it work, and it's. I love all the scenes that we have where we get to we'll go off and then they'll come back and get cracked.
Season 9. I have a feeling it's going to be like the best season yet. I really do. We're so excited. I've analyzed it 5 ways to Sunday, so I'm so excited. Now, I wanted to, before we take questions, we'll take them in 1 minute and comments. I know the viewers have seen this before. I don't know if you ever have, but there's a When Calls the Heart game. Did you know that?
No.
And Jackie Collier and her sister Cassie. Jackie had the Bubbly Sesh podcast. Jax, she's known as. She's a big Heartie.
Oh, Jack.
And she and her sister have this business. They can make one for like your family. You write all your cool stories down, you give them all this information, and then it's like a legacy that you have, and you can play the game with your family. It's cool. The bundle game, look it up. You're gonna love it.
Cool.
Okay.
So no, it really is. But anyway, it's soft like this. This is the game board, and it has questions. So I'm just interested in these questions. There's different kinds, like name for and just all kinds of fun things. So this is for When Calls the Heart.
Wow.
So this is for you, Natasha. Who is your favorite leading man on When Calls the Heart, and why?
Wow. Yeah, okay. Good.
Not me. That's fine.
No, it has to be Viv,
Of course it is.
Like we spend so much time together, and there's like nothing that it's just the best when we're shooting, when we're not shooting, in between shots, just everything. So many times we just look at each other and we never need to say anything. We just know.
Yep.
We just know.
Yep. Yep. We are completely lined up. Completely lined up.
I love that. All right, this is putting you on the spot. I'll whisper it to you like I would whisper to my students if they were on the spot. Who wrote the book series that inspires When Calls the Heart?
Oh yes, that is Jeanette. What's Jeanette's last name?
Tree, Oak, Jeanette, Oak.
Yeah, no, Jeanette.
They know. They can answer in the comments, Jeanette Oak. You got it. And then how about this one? I think you know this one, Viv. What business does Lee own?
Oh yeah, he owns. I see it every day.
It doesn't mean the name of it. What does he do?
Oh,
Yeah, his business.
Well, he has a lumber business.
Yes, very good.
And there's some more, but I won't say.
Oh, I know. I can't wait. Oh, you're teasing.
I almost said it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to trick you. No. I'm glad you didn't say it. So, and this one's kind of cool. And I'll stop here. It's they call them fours. Like they ask you, like when I had Opal and Timmy on. We asked Opal and Timmy what were four cool things, like techniques that Elizabeth used to teach the children. So this one I think you will all ace. And this one is name 4 occupations the characters have in Hope Valley. In season 8, not season 9. Don't give away a spoiler.
Yes, judge.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, the judge. Still the judge.
Constable.
Constable. Elizabeth.
Oh, a teacher.
Yeah, teacher. And
what about the heart? You know, Queen of Hearts. What?
A saloon owner.
A saloon owner.
Yeah.
The chef.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, the chef, of course.
Good job. Yay. Thank you. You were good sports with that. So we have like all these crazy comments good comments. Before I forget, I promised someone had sent this to me early on, and I thought it was pretty interesting. So her name is Deborah. She said I can say her full name, Deborah Martin. And her question basically was that Viv, you do a really good job of portraying a preacher, and she wanted to know if you had any kind of background that you could draw from when you're portraying, preacher, minister.
I'll tell you a little story.
Okay, love that.
So I told this to John Tinker. It's kind of somewhat in the way that my son has he's meant to be a Heartie because he has a heart birthmark on his face. When my mother was pregnant with me, my father read the Bible to me in the womb.
Oh.
And before I could read, the book that I loved to carry around was a little Bible. I didn't know it was a Bible, but that's what I would carry around. And if you took it away from me, I'd cry. So,
that's why quoting those Ephesians and whatever was so easy for you.
Maybe because I carried a little Bible when I was a kid.
Right. That's so cool. So you are drawing. You know what? I love it because it's his handiwork, or like is what it really says. But you said he was a piece of work. which is kind of hilarious. All right, I have to highlight this just because Peter thinks he's silly and funny. He says in season 9, Minnie accidentally invents a famous St. Louis recipe that Roxanne can make. Funny because I take and make the recipes from the different, whatever. He's just being ridiculous.
I love him.
All right, so we have some really cool things. So let's see what we have up here. Let's see. Oh, that's true. I forgot that Jeanette's husband just passed away.
Right.
What's this? Here we go. What's this say? I love these two even more now that we had a chance to meet them.
Thank you,
Marianne.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know. I love it.
I meant to tell a behind the scenes little moment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tickled me a little bit. It tickled me. So Joseph does a little sprinting in this season.
Okay.
He's chasing somebody.
Oh.
And I used to run track when I was a kid, and so the crew, I don't move very quickly on the set at all, really, And so here we do these takes where I'm like sprinting down the street. And all the crew members like, what? How? We didn't know you could move like that. So that was a lot of fun.
Oh, that was good. So you're also telling us a great story, and you're giving us a little hit. Oh, okay. All right. Nothing much. This is cute. I'm so happy you four have joined the Hope Valley. The Canfields have truly brought something even more special to When Calls the Heart.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Aww. I did see some questions up here. There's so many. I'm trying to look around. This one's just a comment, and this is nice. I think the diversity of the show, of the townspeople and their backgrounds, is what keeps When Calls the Heart so successful. And I truly agree. Yeah. Then somebody's loving Ben. We all love Ben. I mean, he himself, and then the part he portrays. All right. Someone's so disappointed that they have to go to work. So they were watching in Western Australia. Woo. Okay. All right. Everyone's like, we're so excited for season 9.
Season 9, it's gonna be good.
And then someone said I was being a hardy pooper because I guess I wouldn't let you reveal stuff.
Nope.
No, I'm just being respectful. Exactly. I'm not Barbara Walters, remember?
Yeah, that's when you tune in and you can see it. You see it all happen in front of you.
Yeah. I was wondering if there was a specific question. I think I saw somewhere, and I don't remember who it was. They were wondering if you actually can cook and bake, Natasha.
I can cook and bake. Yeah.
Wow, so you're like a natural then, right? It's easy for you to be in the kitchen with Bill, who's hilarious. That man is hilarious.
Jack Wagner, yeah.
Hey, the part that he plays is hilarious. And I was saying in my little thing I made the other day, I love that that's how we find out where Clara and Jesse are, because Bill and Clara have a big relationship since he's who saved her from being an indentured servant sort of. Uh-huh. And he's like a father figure. And he has this big, huge smile on his face as he's reading about, being in Montana. And then, of course, being, Joseph, with his words of wisdom, has to explain to his son why someone would even do that. And I love it because we actually I teach that piece of history of going west and homesteading and whatnot. So my students know all about that, as do I. All right, let's see what this says. This is Janine Marie. Janine Marie is amazing. She does all these gorgeous edits. She is a huge Heartie, like most of the people that are here, and she writes fan fiction. She writes beautiful stories about Lucas and Elizabeth. And this is what she says. I knew what line you were going to say was your favorite line. I passed that one on to my pastor. Wonderful wisdom. So the line that we were talking about making. Yeah. This is a cool thing for you. It says, I'm thrilled the Canfields moved to town because it really didn't really care for but the little bad cabin in the woods. And I have no idea. Peter's saying yes to something. I don't know what.
Peter's having his own fun.
He's just saying silly things like that's his little thing there. And and they're saying hi to him. He's having his own sidebar conversations. He would be in trouble in my classroom if he did that. This is them saying, I know they didn't move. Minnie is working at the cafe, so her family was having breakfast there. That's what Patricia was saying, because we weren't sure if you had moved or not. And I had thought, you're there making breakfast. Why would you make breakfast at your house and then breakfast again? So, yeah.
You have to tune in.
Oh, okay, good. Just going along, and that's it. Peter's saying spoilers, but there were no spoilers, Peter.
You didn't say spoilers, Peter.
He just checks in. All right, we're good. I don't know if I'm missing any questions. It says there were new comments, but is there anything the two of you oh, I know what. Alice wanted to know if you could share a recipe with us. Oh, could you maybe if you have a favorite recipe, you can put it up on Instagram for us if you don't mind. What do you think?
Yes, okay. I could do that.
I'm putting you on the spot, but they would love that. They'll all go now to your Instagram account.
She can do that.
Yeah. I'm supposed to be making a Victoria sponge. So
that's not easy.
So
this one, I'm telling you.
So you are quite the wizard in the kitchen. I'm impressed. I'm going to pretend we're in the kitchen more often, because I pretended we were in the kitchen twice making some of your recipes. And now I don't know that I'm going to attempt a Victorian sponge. Forget it. No, because that will not happen. No.
I haven't tried it, so I have no idea.
Oh, yeah, no, you haven't.
I haven't tried the bake. No.
Yeah.
No. Well, you'll just enjoy it.
I just get to eat. Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah. Oh, I know what. Someone wanted to know what happened to the beautiful swing you had and as a prop. Do you know what happened to that prop? Will it show up? Wind up at the school maybe or something?
You'll see it.
Peter wants me to ask you this, so I guess it's okay. He said, ask Viv and Natasha about COVID and kissing. Oh gosh, do you have to do the mouthwash thing and all that stuff? Yeah, or is there an inside joke that he's trying to hint at?
No, he's just being Peter.
Oh, okay.
There's no problem. Everybody's fine.
Okay. All right.
Safe.
All right. Sorry. I thought maybe you were going to in all honesty, I remember watching Riverdale and they were showing that when they kissed, what they had to do during the height of the pandemic, they actually had this cup and they had, for I forget how long you had to keep swishing it around. And that was just a behind the scenes thing. So I thought he was being serious, but he's just being silly. Now, before we sign off and say, good night, is there anything that you two are ready to share, something that's up and coming or another project, or no, that's okay.
What do you got?
I've got nothing.
Oh,
nothing.
Okay. That's all right. That's okay. Sometimes people can share, sometimes they don't. I just like to ask because sometimes you like to throw it out there. That's fine.
Yeah, because there's a Lifetime movie coming out called Lockdown.
You do? You have one? Oh.
Yep.
When is that coming out?
I believe that's February. It's coming out pretty soon.
So it's soon. Lifetime, and it's called Lockdown.
Yeah. Is it Lifetime? I think it's Lifetime.
I can look it up and I'll post it for everybody. Yeah. So Lifetime, and it's called Lockdown, Lock, and then the down, DOWN. Is there a poster out for it already? There must be. There must be something.
Okay. I'm the worst at posting.
Terrible.
Do you know what? I just thought of something that I had seen as it was passing by, because they're asking about your children. What are your children's favorite part of working on the show every day? And then someone else had asked this question, Viv, about your children. And if you don't want to share, you don't. They were just curious to know that because they go to school, because they act, do they have chores and do they get allowances?
You know what? Yes, all of the above. They do have chores and they do get a little, it's kind of an interesting thing because they're working on the show and they're making money, working on the show. So allowances was how they made their money before.
Right.
But now that everybody's an actor,
Yeah.
that's how they make their money. But yes, chores, they still got chores. That is very important to us, that these guys understand. Natasha will tell you, if you come to eat dinner at my house, my kids will clear the table. That is there's no, they don't just take off. These kids clear the table, they help clean up, they help set up. That's what's up.
You're a good grown up. You're a good grown up. That's what I call, because you never know who is raising what children. So you don't know if it's mom, dad, a relative or whatever, but we always say grown ups. You're a good grown ups. Oh, good.
A good kid. So
yeah. We love you on When Calls the Heart. We love you. We are so excited for the next season. All right, friends, you two can say your good nights, and then I'll end the broadcast, and then we could say goodbye in the studio.
Okay. Well, we'd just like to say, first of all, thank you for everybody that commented. We've been trying to read as many as we can.
Love that.
So I'm so glad you guys joined us, and thank you so much for your support.
Yes, thank you for the love, and just welcoming us into your homes and your hearts, and yeah, it's
Peter loves us.
Oh, you Peter DeLuise. Love you too, Peter DeLuise. Yeah, this is such a fun gig. It's cool that my whole family gets to come along for the ride.
Yeah, I know. It is. It really is. I'm loving it too. So, friends, I almost said boys and girls, like I would say to my class, friends out there, Hearties, tomorrow, my guest is Brittany Bristow, and she'll be on 8:00, same time tomorrow. And we're going to talk about her amazing career. My goodness, the things that she's done, and her talented family. Her mom writes, her dad is a director. And she also has a new movie out with one of your co-stars, Chris McNally. So that's coming out in April. So we're going to chat about that too. All right. Good night, everyone. You two can stay. I'm just going to end. Leave.